This is not an new phenomena, right? I said yesterday one beautiful quotation. Benjamin Franklin has said, in India, two things are very certain. One is death, and another one is paying taxes. So these two things will going to be certain. We can expect this will going to be happen, paying the taxes and as well as the death. And one more economist we called Kautilya. You heard about Kautilya? He's an ancient economist. In his Arthashastra, he mentioned a word called Hartha Danda. That means if a country want to becoming a strong in this country, two things are very certain. That is, two things are very very important. That is Artha Danda. Artha is nothing but strong treasury should be there. Okay, and Danda is nothing but strong law and order should be there. That means if a country want to becoming a strong treasury is nothing but strong financial system should be there, strong monetary system should be followed, because finance is a lifeblood of any business, any country, right? Without finance, without fund, we can't run the country smoothly. So that's why the fund is very very important. And one more important thing is, if a country is strong enough in fund, it is not enough, because so countries should also strong in law and order also, because if you have enough fund, if you don't have proper security or defense system, means it is very difficult. Now we are what we are seeing in the diplomatic conflict between India and China. So why we are very strong? Because we have a strong defense sectors. So that is a very very important. So that's why Artha Kautilya has mentioned two things are very certain in this country. One is not certain, it is just two things are very strong, it should be very strong in that particular country. One is Artha is nothing but strong treasury, another one is Danda is nothing but strong law and order should be there. Okay, so as well as I discussed yesterday how our income tax is evolved. We know that the tax is one of the fundamental thing. If the government want to do some kind of welfare measures, construction of roads, dams, providing good hospital facilities, good education, and some kind of welfare facilities, like a public distribution system. Whatever you are getting rations, and when you are collecting any kind of gas, they will going to be provide some kind of subsidy, right? All this, in order to provide all these facilities, government needs some kind of fund. So where the government will going to be get? So government cannot print the notes. Yes, yeah, with the instructions of an government, RBI can print the notes, but there is a ultimate another impact will be there. That is, in inflation will going to be increases. It is not good for the country. So that's why the government need to raise the fund through the tax. So tax is a one of the important revenue source for the government. Okay, so in India, the tax is not a new phenomena. So if you go way back, if you go to the British era, so the tax was first time it was introduced in the year 1860. I also explained the reason also yesterday. In the year 1860, Sir James Wilson has introduced this income tax in India, because of in order to recover the loss which is occurred due to the first war of Indian independence in the year 1857. As you know that Sipahi Mutiny, it is a the war has been fought between Indian freedom fighters as well as Britishers, but finally Britishers has won because of proper administration and equipment. But finally they incurred a loss, right? So they thought that we have to be recover this loss from the Indians only. So that's why they introduced the concept called as the income tax. Whatever you are earning the income, you have to be pay the tax in India. So at that time, major source for the British government, the tax is agriculture, because agriculture is a backbone of our economy, right? When India has got independence, before independence, so they got and recovered the loss within 5 years. Again, they abolished this income tax. Again, after that, again they come into introduce the taxation system in India. As we know that the time will going to be evolved, it will going to be fluctuate. We have to proper law and conditions should be there. They amended the income tax from time to time. So finally, after independence, we got a proper procedure to how to impose any kind of tax if the income is earned by an individual in India. So that's why they in the year 1961 they amended the parliament and they enacted the Income Tax Act 1961 in the parliament, and it came into existence on April 1st, 1962. So this is how our income tax has came into picture. Okay, so yesterday I also explained, in India there are two types of taxes there. One is direct tax and another one is indirect tax. Okay. So let's wait. So one is the direct tax and another one is indirect tax. So what do you mean by a direct tax? Direct tax is nothing but an individual who is paying the tax directly to the government. Okay. So let's take this example. If I am earning the salary, I have to pay the tax directly to the government. So this is called as a direct tax. I explained two very important terminology. Incidence and impact will be fall on same person under the direct tax. So what do you mean by an incidence? Incidence is nothing but liability, responsibility, who has to pay that tax. Impact is nothing but ultimate burden. Under the direct tax, the incidence and impact will be both will be fall on same person only. It cannot be transferred to any other person. As you know that under for example, if I am earning the salary, if I have a house property, I can't tell some other person. So let's take this example. My friend is Kiran. Okay, I am earning the salary from my employer. So even I am earning, I can't tell to Kiran to be pay on behalf of me, because you can't transfer burden to some other person. That's why it is called as a direct tax. That means whatever you are earning the income, out of that income, if your income is exceeding the exempted limit in India, the exempted limit is 2,50,000 annually. If your income is exceeding the exempted limit, then only you have to be pay the tax to the government directly to the in India. So under income tax, under the direct tax, the example is income tax, corporate tax. That means if the company is earning the profit, they have to be pay directly to the income tax department. And like wealth tax, gift tax. Now wealth tax is not there in the year 2015. They abolished the wealth tax. Why they abolished it? Because we are already paying some kind of wealth. If it is there, if I am purchasing the property, I have to pay the property registration fees, right? So that's why again, if you impose again tax on that, it is becoming a cascading effecting of tax. So that's why they removed that one. Okay. So this is called as a direct tax. In India, direct tax is collected and administered by the central government. There is a particular department is there, CBIT. So note on this point, CBIT is a department which will going to be regulate and control this direct tax. Expansion of CBIT is nothing but Central Board of Income Tax. Central Board of Income Tax is a department which will going to be regulate and administer the income tax in India. Who will going to be collect the income tax? There is a question will going to arise us in interview. They will going to ask who will going to administer and collect the income tax is nothing but not state government. Central government will going to be collect this income tax. Okay. So next one is indirect. Hope you understood this one. Any doubt with regards to direct tax? You can put it in chat box. Okay. If you want, again I will explain what do you mean by direct tax. Any doubt? Okay. CBIT is nothing but Central Board of Direct Tax. Central Board of Direct Tax. So it is a the board which will going to be regulate and administer this income tax provision. Because if I want to collect the tax, there should be rules and regulations should be there, right? Procedure should be there, right? Who will going to be give that regulations, procedures and all? Means this is a board will going to be give CBIT, Central Board of Direct Tax. Okay. So next one is indirect tax. Indirect tax is nothing but where the I already explained with an example. I explained yesterday. There is a manufacturer will be there. If I manufacture, if we manufacture the particular product, so let's take this example. If I manufacture this bottle, okay, before at the time of manufacture this bottle, the manufacturer has to pay certain kind of the taxes. Like he has to pay the tax called as an excise duty. Okay, so you can see. Wait, I will show the. So this is a excise duty. So excise duty, when you have to pay the tax to the government, means at the time of manufacturing. Who has to pay? Owner has to pay. Okay. And after manufacture this product, I need to hand it over to the customer, right? I have to sell this product to the customer. Before hand it over to the customer, I have to transfer this product to the whom? Transportation should be taken place, right? Either within the state or between the state. If I am transport this product within the state, let's take it as example. I manufactured this bottle in Bengaluru, and I transported this product to Gulbarga. So there is an intrastate will be there. At that time, the the government, that is state government, as we will going to be impose a tax called as a VAT. See here, VAT, value added tax. In this product they will going to be impose the VAT tax. Okay. And next after that, if I export this product, transport this product to interstate, let's take this example from Karnataka to Kerala. If I am transport this product, I have to pay the tax called as a CST, central sales tax. I have to pay at that time. Who will going to pay all these tax? VAT, CST, excise duty, customs duty I have to pay in case if I am import or export any kind of goods and services. So all this will going to be taxes will going to be paid by the manufacturer initially when before it is handed over to the customer. But the manufacturer will going to be collect ultimately this tax from the customer when you are purchasing that particular product. You all are observed that, so in a product they will going to be give MRP within the bracket inclusive of all taxes. That means you are paying the price along with tax also. So who has already paid the tax? Employer, sorry, not manufacturer. Now he is collecting that tax from the customer. So in the meaning of indirect tax, where the incidence on one person, impact is on another person. Incidence, that means responsibility to pay the tax by the manufacturer, ultimate burden will goes to the customer. Meaning of, that is the meaning of indirect tax. So these are the examples of indirect tax: VAT, customs duty, excise duty, service tax. But now, after 2017 July 1st, all these indirect taxes are abolished. In the place of an indirect taxes, they come out with new tax, new reforms under the indirect G called as a GST. From July 1st, 2017 onwards, we are following only one indirect tax, that is goods and service tax, as well as basic customs duty. Basic customs duty will going to be imposed. It is the basic customs duty is not subsumed with the GST. It is kept separately. That is basic customs duty will going to be calculated indirectly only, separately. But GST and basic customs duty are the two indirect taxes are existing in India. You will going to be learn in detail this concept, GST concept, you in your subject accounting and taxation as well as finance, as a GST subject is there. Very beautiful subject. You're going to learn many things. So please learn for the knowledge gaining, not for the exam point of view. Okay. So this is with regards to indirect tax. So in indirect tax, you observe that if you went to some like some hotels, restaurants, or malls, they will going to be imposed taxes like 5%, 18%, 12%, 28%. There are five slabs is there, guys. 0%, 5%, 12%, 18%, 28%. So these are the slab rate under indirect tax. Okay, how they will going to be imposed? If a country, if it is a transportation, if I am selling that product within the intrastate, they will going to be imposed based on the product wise. For example, most basic necessity product they will going to be imposed 5%. If normal like mobile phones, like laptops and all, they will going to be imposed 12% to 18%. Some luxury products like fridge, washing machine, and some kind of tobacco, all this will come under the 28%. So still in India, why the petrol prices are increasing day by day? Because the petrol is not subsumed with GST. It is kept as a separately. Alcohol, and some kind of electricity, these charges, these all are items are not within the GST this is outside the GST. I already told, if it is outside the GST, what will happen? They will impose all these kinds of taxes. See here, so VAT they will impose, customs duty they will impose, excise duty impose, service tax impose. What will happen with the one product? If you are imposing again and again tax and tax, ultimately the price of the product will going to be increases. So in foreign country, the diesel prices are very less, per barrel is very less. Even though in India the oil prices are increasing because the state and central government are imposing nearly 60% of tax on that particular product. So that is a meaning of that is a reason why our Indian in India the oil prices are increasing day by day. Okay, how to control oil prices? Is one option is they have to come under the GST regime, because it will not come, because state governments will not going to accept, because state governments main revenue is one is alcohol, another one is petrol. We these two products, the state and central government is earning nearly and more than 50% revenue out of whatever they are collecting. So that is the reason why. So we have to see whether if previously before and all Congress government is there, lot of strikes and all happening, but no one no strike is happening. Petrol their petrol prices before government are deciding, so they will going to come to conference, they will going to tell today or tomorrow will going to be rise 5 rupees from today onwards. No, it is not like that. It is a marketing forces based on demand and supply. They will going to be change the prices. So you can see the daily it will going to be daily it will going to change the prices. So that is the reason why the prices of the product will going to be increase or decreasing day by day. So this is out of the topic. So just I give the information. Okay. So this is a with meaning of indirect tax. Indirect tax is nothing but incidence and impact will be fall on different person. Incidence on one person, impact is another person. Best example is GST. Okay, hope you everyone understood. Any doubt with regards to indirect tax as well as direct tax? So indirect tax is meant administered by the board called as a Central Board of Indirect Tax and Customs. Once again I will repeat, indirect tax are administered and controlled by in India is Central Board of Indirect Tax and Customs. Direct tax are administered by Central Board of Direct Tax. Okay, Central Board of Direct Tax is administered by direct tax. Indirect tax is Central Board of Indirect Tax and Customs. Why customs is separately? Because we are, it is not subsumed with GST. Hope any doubt? So you can put it in chat box. If you have any doubts, I can clarify. Any doubt with regards to direct tax and indirect tax? Yes. Okay. Thank you. So next one is yesterday I explained in India what kind of nature of taxation is we are following. One is a progressive nature rather than regressive nature. In India, we are following the income tax nature is progressive. As your income is increases, tax rate is also will going to be increases. That is called as a progressive. Regressive is nothing but if income is increases, tax rate will going to be decreases. USA they will going to be follow regressive. In India, we are following the progressive in nature. And at the same time, I explain the proportional nature. What do you mean by proportional nature? As your income is increases or decreases, not a matter, tax rate will be the same. Same for all. Whether you are rich or poor, the tax rate will be the same for everyone. Why? Some kind of products like petroleum, meat, some kind of luxury items, tobacco items will not going to be discriminate between poor as well as rich. If me and Dhoni if went to the petrol shop, the petrol petrol bunker, they will not going to be sell. They will going not they will not going to be impose different tax rates, right? They will going to be impose same rate, same price for both of them because that is a called as a proportional nature. Our income tax is also is called as a proportional nature. Whether your income is increases or decreases, not a matter, the tax rate will be the stagnant or the same one. Okay, and next one is digressive in nature. What do you mean by digressive in nature? Digressive in nature is nothing but as your income is increases slowly, tax rate is also increases slowly. See here, 5%, 20%, 30%. So wait a minute, I will take cursor. Yeah, so see here, so nil 5%, 20% and 30%. As your income is increases slowly, tax rate is also increases slowly. Okay, but when your income is exceeding above limit, but one particular point of time it will become stagnant. See here, 30% is a stagnant. We are not going with 40%, 50%, 60% and all. That is called as a digressive in nature. As your income is increases slowly, tax rate is also increases, but one particular point of time it will become stagnant. That is a 30% is a slab rate for that is constant one. So many of them they will going to be asked, so if I am earning the 1 crore, what is the tax rate? The tax rate is 30% only. Okay, for that there will be having a cess as well as surcharge. If they will go, it will going to be come. Okay, I will going to be explain this how to compute in the slab rates when offline classes starts, because it is very interesting, you should know, because online classes it is not that much of accurate. within board, with a blackboard I will going to explain with beautifully how to compute in the tax slab rate, with applicable of, for example, if I am earning 10 lakh, how to compute in the tax rate. If I am earning 1 crore, how to compute in that. Okay, so I will explain when I am doing offline classes. Okay, so this is a slab rate. Okay, in India, below 60 years, below 60, we all are come under the below 60 years, I have to pay the tax this slab rates up to 2 lakh 50 nil rate, 2 lakh 50 to 5 lakh 5%, 5 lakh to 10 lakh 20%, and 10 lakh above 30% is there. But normally up to 2 lakh 50,000 is a nil, no need to pay tax. But normally in India, if you are earning up to 5 lakh also, no need to pay tax, because one of the concept called as a rebate. Rebate, under section 87A, there is a rebate concept is there. It tells about if your income is below 5 lakh, no need to pay any kind of tax. You can claim the rebate up to 12,500 rupees. So if I am earning 5 lakh, why I should not pay? Because exemption limit is up to 2 lakh 50 only, right? So if I am earning 5 lakh also, why I should not pay tax? Because of rebate concept is there. We have to be we have to encourage the medium peoples, like small income people. So we have to impose promoting the savings in the minds of normal people. So that's why they given a concept called as a rebate. So in last budget, Nirmala Sitaraman has said, today onwards, so no need to pay tax up to 5 lakh rupees because of rebate. So not up to 5 lakh is not an exemption, 2 lakh 50,000 only exemption. Up to 5 lakh, if your income is there, rebate will going to be applicable at a rate of 12,500 rupees. If your income is exceeding even 1 rupee, 5 lakh 1 rupee if you are earning, means no, you have to be pay, rebate will not going to be applicable, you have to pay the tax. So let's see. Okay, 2 lakh 50,000 is exemption, right? Let's take it as example. I am earning an income of 5 lakh rupees. Okay, my income is 5 lakh. How to calculate? 5 lakh up to exemption is how much? 5 lakh minus 2 lakh 50,000, remaining is how much? 2 lakh 50. Okay, from 2 lakh 50 to 5 lakh, what is the tax slab rate? 5%. So 2 lakh 50,000 into 5%, if you calculate, you will going to get 12,500 rupees. Okay, under rebate, how much amount is you can claim as a deductions? 12,500 rupees. If your income is below 2 lakh 50,000, 5 lakh rupees. So 12,500 minus 12,500 rupees, nil rate. Okay, similarly, if I am earning 6 lakh, so 6 lakh means up to how much is the exemption? 2 lakh 50. Remaining is how much? 4 lakh 50,000 rupees. Okay, out of 4 lakh 50,000, see here, 2 lakh 50 to 5 lakh. What is the difference? 2 lakh 50, right? So 2 lakh 50, how much is the tax rate? 5%. So calculate the difference amount. 2 lakh 50,000 into 5% means you will going to get 12,500 rupees. So how much is the amount left for me out of after deductions? That is 4 lakh, sorry, how much? 6 lakh I told, right? So 4 lakh 50,000 out of 2 lakh 50,000 left means 2 lakh. So that slab will going to be come under here, 5 lakh to 10 lakh. So you have to apply 20%. So that means 2 lakh into 20% means you will going to get 40%. So like this, we have to calculate the tax rate. So don't confuse it. I'll going to be once again. I will explain when offline classes will going to be start. So this is a very important, because it is helpful for your future also. When you are paying the taxes, you should know how to calculate the tax rates. I will going to explain in offline classes. Okay, so this is the tax rate for individuals who are below 60 years. The age below above 60 years, below 80 years, they are called as a senior citizen. Up to 3 lakh, they no need to pay tax, and remaining all are tax slab rates are same. Up to 3 lakh, for a senior citizen, no need to pay tax. From 3 lakh to um, so guys, one more updation. Only 10 minutes are left this meeting. So again, I will going to be start. I will going to be continue. So log in with the same ID. Okay, same ID, whatever link I said. So log in with same ID. Okay. So up to 3 lakh for senior citizen, no need to pay any kind of tax. From 3 lakh to 5 lakh, I have to pay tax called. Uh, I have to pay tax. Wait. So give me a minute. So, guys, is my voice is audible? I think I am not seeing display here. My voice is audible. So in India, if an individual who is earning the tax up to senior citizen up to 3 lakh, no need to pay tax. If your income is exceeding 3 lakh only, the senior citizen, they have to pay the tax. So again, 3 lakh to 5 lakh, 5%, 5 lakh to 10 lakh, 20%, 10 lakh above, 30% they have to be paid. And super senior citizen, who is called as a super senior citizen, is nothing but an individual who is income is above 3 lakh, super senior citizen who is called as a super senior citizen means an individual whose income is above 5 lakh, sorry, 80 years. Senior citizen means individual whose age is above 80 years, they're called as a super senior citizen. So they have to pay up to, they no need to pay any kind of tax up to 5 lakh rupees. Okay, up to 5 lakh they no need to pay tax. So give me a time. Okay, they no need to pay any kind of the tax up to 5 lakh rupees. Senior, super senior citizen who is called as a super senior citizen, the age above 80 years, so they no need to pay any kind of tax up to 5 lakh. And 5 lakh to 10 lakh, 20%, 10 lakh above, 30%, same slab rate will be the same only. But keep in mind, an individual also no need to pay tax up to 5 lakh because of rebate concept under section 87A rebate. So if you want, you can get text it in Google, what do you mean by rebate, you're going to get clear idea. Okay, an individual who is earning the income up to 5 lakh rupees annually, no need to pay tax, any kind of tax, because of rebate concept. If your income is exceeding above 5 lakh above 1 rupee also, rebate will not going to be applicable, you have to pay the tax to the government. Okay, so this is a slab rate, guys. And one more thing, keep in mind, surcharge will going to be applicable. When surcharge will going to be applicable is nothing but when your income is exceeding 50 lakh above means 50 lakh above means surcharge is nothing but tax on tax. Okay, tax on tax is the meaning of surcharge. Okay, for example, if my income is above 1 crore rupees, yesterday I explained, if my income is 1 crore means, out of that, what is the exemption limit, 2,50,000, if you deduct, some amount will going to become. On that amount I have to apply these slab rates. Based on slab rate I have to calculate the tax rate on that amount. After the calculating slab rates, you will going to get the total amount. On that total amount, such a 10% you have to calculate. And after that there will be having a health and educational cess, 4% will going to be applicable. So don't worry. So this is the practical one I will going to be explain it in class only. Okay, so keep in mind slab rates. So you should know the basic sense, what is the slab rates and all. Sometimes they will going to ask in your interview and some competitive exams and all. Okay, so in India these are the slab rates. So 5%, 20%, okay, 30%. Okay, up to 2 lakh 50, no need to pay any kind of tax if your age is below 60 years. From 60 years to 80 years, 3 lakh is the exemption limit. From 80 years above, 5 lakh is a exemption limit. Okay, hope. Any doubt? Any doubt with regards to slab rates? Yeah, thank you. So next one is this one is a very important canons of taxation, 6 marks compulsory question. So in this chapter, 6 marks 2 questions will going to become, 14 marks 1 questions will going to come. So 6 marks 1 practical question and 14 marks 1 practical question, 1 theory question. This may expected to, they will going to ask all the years, they will going to ask this one, canons of taxation. Very simple, easy to understandable. What do you mean by canons of taxation is nothing but principles of taxation. For example, if a country want to adopt any kind of if a country want to implement any kind of law, any kind of principles, any kind of act under the tax, they should keep all these points. Without keeping all these points, they should not pass any kind of law in a country. That means if I am imposing any kind of tax on particular individual, you should keep in mind all these points, then only you have to make the law. That is the meaning of canons of taxation. Okay, Adam Smith, you know about who is an Adam Smith. Adam Smith is called as a father of economics. Okay, he bifurcated the that is politics with economics. So that's why he's called as Adam Smith. Is one of the great economists. He's given a concept called wealth of nation. You already studied in say your second PUC. So he given a certain principles. So if any nation want to make a law related to tax, they have to keep all these principles. So what is the first one? Canon of equality. So what do you mean by an canon of equality? So if you know, under constitution, there is a fundamental rights is there. Under fundamental rights, article 14 will going to be explains right to equality. That means You should not discriminate in Indian citizen with an age, with his color, with his birth, with his sex, with his gender. You should not discriminate with his caste. You should not discriminate. We should treat everyone as a equal manner, right? So similar also in tax also, when you are imposing any kind of tax, you should treat everyone as an equal only. If a normal person is earning this smaller income, you should impose less income. If a person is earning a high income, you have to impose more tax rate. So that's why we have to impose more tax rate for richer person. Because why is earning that income, is earning more income? Because of our Indian policy, because of our Indian strong peace and order they are maintaining, right? They're providing a security for him. So that's why we are making a policy based on that. Because of that they are earning the income, so that's why they have to pay more taxes. So that means right to equality is nothing but you should not discriminate the person based on his level of income. If the person is earning the lower income, you should impose less tax. If a person is having earning a higher income, you should impose more taxes. That is called as a canon of equality. You should not discriminate everyone, you should treat as a equal. Okay, hope you understood this point. Next one is canon of certainty. So write it in two words. It is more than enough. Okay, if they ask 2 marks, so just mention the points, it's more than enough. For if they ask 6 marks, you have to give explanation also. Okay, canon of certainty. Canon of certainty is nothing but an individual, whenever you are imposing a tax to the customer, so you should give an certainty. You should know certain, that means you should know the what time I need to pay the tax, on which mode I need to pay the tax, on which date I have to pay the tax. You should know, right? So that is the meaning of an canon of certainty. So if you want, I will give you explanation here. So here canon of equality is nothing but every person should pay to the government depending upon his ability to pay. If the person is having a ability, then only you have to impose the tax. If a person is not earning the income also, if you, even though if you are imposing the tax, he is unable to pay the tax, right? So you should treat everyone as a equal. If you are earning low income, impose low tax. If he is earning more income, impose more tax. That is a meaning of equality. Why richer person is imposing more tax? Because government is providing policies, good policies, good defense sectors, good strong law and order will be there. In order to maintain all these things, you have to pay more tax by the richer person. So if you think about, if I give you the example, Anil Ambani, Virat Kohli and all, they are paying crores together every year. So nearly an 50 crores to 60 crores of tax they are paying in India. So only 1 minute left. So um, students, please log in again with the same ID. I'll going to continue the class. Okay, just 1 minute is there. So meeting will going to expire within 1 minute. I'll going to start again. Okay, yeah, we'll going to continue, I think. Wait, hope understood, right? Right to canon of equality. Is it my audio is audible? Yes, okay. Next one is canon of certainty. So what do you mean by a canon of certainty is nothing but the tax which is individual has to pay should be certain. It should not be arbitrary. Okay. Uh, So give me 2 minutes. I will going to add everyone. So later we're going to start the class. Okay. So I will wind up the class to again. I will going to extend another 15 minutes because I started late. So sorry for that. I will complete this session. Okay. I will complete this topic and I will wind up. So give me 1 minute. So give me 1 minute. I will going to I will continue again another one 10 to 15 minutes. Okay. So others are joining. Let them wait. Sir, we do have some other classes at 2:30. Okay. Okay, Divyam. Okay, I will leave. Okay, I will complete this session and leave it. Okay. Okay. So sorry for that. Learning should be stopped at in between. We should complete everything. We should learn something new, right? So that's why. So we have to bear it if it is time also exceeds. So I know that some other classes is there. So I will sorry for that. Okay. So let's start without wasting time. I hope you are visible. My presentation. My presentation is visible for all. Yes. Okay. Thank you. So I explained canon of equality. Equality is nothing but we should not discriminate the person. If you are based on his income, if you are earning low income, impose low tax. If you are is earning more income, impose more tax. So that's canon of certainty is nothing but whenever you have to provide a certainty, certain to an individual, you should provide a convenience time to the person. At what time he should pay, what how much of tax he should pay, what rate he should pay, what mode he has to pay, whether electronically or offline, we should know everything. So based on that only we should make the law, right? So wait. Yeah. So that is called as a canon of certainty. That means if you are paying the income, you should know certainty. So how much of tax, how much of at what time, and what mode I should pay. So keep in mind, guys, an individual. If I am, for example, I am a salary person, I should pay my tax before 31st July. 31st July before I should pay the tax to the government. So you should know the meaning of assessment year and previous year. Tomorrow I'll go to discuss very important topic. So they will going to ask in your exam. Okay, this one also very very important. You should know the meaning. Okay, canon of certainty, canon of equality we completed. Next one is canon of convenience. Canon of convenience is nothing but the individual should know the convenience. Based on his convenience, he should pay the tax. You know about one concept called as an TDS is there, tax deduction at sources, and advanced tax concept is there. That means the meaning of that one is nothing. Whenever you are earning the income, pay at that. Earning the salary. If I am earning the salary, pay tax. If I am earning the rent on house property, pay tax at that time. That means pay tax as and when you earn the income. That is the meaning of a canon of convenience. Canon of convenience is nothing but if I am earning the income, then only you have to pay the tax to the government. If you are not earning the income, no need to pay any kind of tax to the government. That is called as a canon of convenience. So keep in mind TDS and the advanced taxes will be there, right? You're going to learn in detail in your sixth sum, in your business taxation by accounting and taxation student, not by the finance students. They don't have topic called subject called business taxation. In detail, accounting and taxation students, they will going to learn advanced tax, TDS and all. Okay, canon of convenience is nothing but an individual is, if he is paying the tax, he should have convenient at what time and what when he is earning the income, then only you have to pay the tax to the government. That is called as a canon of convenience. So till now we discuss canon of equality, certainty, convenience. Next one is canon of economy. Economy is nothing but the government, whenever they are collecting the tax from the public, they will going to be incur some kind of expenses, right? So because they will going to incur huge expenses, because they have to collect the tax from all over India. So government should minimize whatever the tax that cost getting, that cost should be minimized. Collection cost, how they can minimize the cost? Before, if you go back to 20 years or 30 years back, if you want to filing the income tax return, you should file the with an hard physical copy and write it and fill it, and income from salary, income from house property, income from HP, like that you have to be prescribed each and every one. You should calculate yourself and then go to the income tax department. Huge procedure will be there, lots of time waste and money waste and everything is there. Now with sitting anywhere in your country with a within a with your mobile and with your laptops, anywhere 24 into 7 you can sit anywhere, you can file your returns. So you can go to the income tax website, that is www.incometax.government.in. So this is a website for income tax filing. If you go to the website, you can log in if you are registered and you can file it. That's it. It's very simple. Within a fraction of 5 minutes your filing is done. So that is called as a canon of economy. Now government is reduce that burden. The government also easily collecting the tax from the public. The meaning of canon of economy. Canon of economy is nothing but whenever the government is collecting the tax from the public, the collection charges should be minimized as much as possible. That is meaning of canon of economy. Hope you understood canon of equity, convenience, certainty, and economy. Next one is canon of simplicity. As you know that in India, everyone are not educated. Some are illiterate also will be the right. They should, for them also the taxation system should be understandable. You should not make taxation should be more rigid, more complexity, more confusing. If you make more confused, the people will make confused, and there is a concept called as a tax evasion will going to happen. What do you mean by tax evasion? They're not paying taxes to the government. So that's why it should be simple as much as possible. It should be understandable for everyone. Then only you can impose collecting the taxes from the public easily. Okay, that is the meaning of an canon of simplicity. And for example, uneducated person is there, how he is earning the agriculture income close together, and he is having a property, land is also is there. You don't know how to file in the returns, then how you will go to collect the tax? So you can collect the tax based on consultants. So there are chartered accountants is there from government only, income tax department only, they will going to be appointed certain consultant from in order to help this person, like admission counter will be there, right? Like that only income tax department will going to appoint certain agents, consultants in order to help that kind of persons. If you don't if you don't have knowledge about income tax, they'll going to on behalf of you, they're going to file your income. That is the meaning of canon of simplicity. Simplicity is nothing but your taxation system should be as much as possible simple and clear to the everyone. You should not make rigid and complexity and confusing to the students. So before coming to the GST, our foreigners has criticized our Indian taxation system more. They called Indian taxation system as a tax terrorism. So that's why Arun Jaitley, the former finance minister Arun Jaitley, has given a counter words. Our Indian taxation system is not a tax terrorism. Rather than our Indian taxation system is called as a tax adventurism. We are day by day we are coming within changes, so we are simplifying, we are clear to everyone. So that's why we come out with GST, goods and service tax. We are abolishing all these indirect taxes. Cascading affecting of tax means, if you see VAT, CST, excess duty you are imposing on particular products, same kind of taxes. So they are abolishing everything now. They are one tax, one nation, one market. So there is a simplifying. We are simplifying our nations with this taxation system. That is the meaning of canon of simplicity. Next one is canon of coordination. This is very very important, guys, because first of all, there is a conflict between center and the state. They don't know on which income we have to impose the tax. If the conflict, if it is there between the center and the state, between local authorities like municipality and panchayat, so they will they whenever they want, if they impose any kind of tax means, so it is very difficult for them. Okay, so yeah, yeah, sir, we have class. Okay, give 1 minute. Okay, I will one more one point is there. Yes, that's it. Canon of coordination is nothing but proper coordination has to be maintained between center, state, and local authority. Flexibility is nothing but so if you see before 1947, where we got in independence, easy individual income will be the same compared to now. No, right? There are a lot of changes has been happened. Individual income has been tremendously increases, standard of living is increases, per capita income is increases, nation is growing at a developed nations. So we are strong nations now. So that's why the law should be whatever it is there under 1961 when income tax enacted. Now also will be the following the same same law means it is very difficult for everyone, right? Government also will not going to be uh, like government also will not going to be receive any kind of income, more income. So that's why it should be flexible. We should change the act, amended the act based on time to time. So there is a meaning of flexibility. So these are the 7 points. And canon of productivity also will be there. So tomorrow I'm going to be again revise it. Okay, till now we discuss canons: equality, certainty, convenience, economy, coordination, flexibility, simplicity. So these are the important canons of taxation. Hope everyone are understood the concept. If you have any doubts, I will going to clarify. Um, and Mayanka, please, can you take attendance and send it to my WhatsApp? Okay. So Mayanka, can you take attendance and send it to WhatsApp? I will give attendance for them. Hope I understood. My class is not boring, so it is. I hope. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Mayanka. Okay, guys, you can leave. Okay. So thank you and sorry for the late. Okay. I started late and due to technical reasons, I will going to correct it. Okay. So thank you. Have a nice day.